My name is Guy Freebat. Today I'm providing an analysis of Rappacini's Daughter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. This story, through Hawthorne's characterization, is a story of the basic human emotions that exist in all of us. The desire to have the power of love, revenge, greed, the desire to control nature, and most of all, respect. This story starts with a young man named Giovanni, who comes from a place in Italy and is afforded an opportunity that during this time that not many men are afforded, and has the ability to go to a university and get education. Upon his arrival in the city of Prada, he meets Dame Lisabetta for the first time, who shows her his quarters and then explains to him the garden behind his apartment through the window and whom it belongs to. There Giovanni sees for the first time the young woman Beatrice, Dr. Rappacini's daughter. At this time, Giovanni thinks that he is in love. Perhaps he is. Perhaps it's lust. According to Frederick Cruz, Giovanni has sexual confusions about what emotions he feels for Beatrice. At this time, Giovanni provides his letter of introduction to Professor Baglioni. Professor Baglioni is acquainted with Giovanni through his family. They are not close acquaintances, but only family friends. A letter of introduction is no longer used anymore, as it was in the days of old, in order to provide scholarship and proof, and identity to whom you were. Professor Baglioni understands immediately that the young man needs to not only have a university education, but also a worldly education. So therefore, he explains to him, upon his mention, Dr. Rappacini, to the professor and his daughter, of all the other absurd rumors that could be heard about her, and that he should avoid her. Baglioni is trying to be an excellent friend to Giovanni, but according to Ken Dauber, he was nothing more than a meddling academic. When the professor determines that Giovanni will no longer listen to him, he decides to use the young man in order to exact revenge on Dr. Rappacini. Dame Lisabetta plays a very pivotal role in the story. She cares neither for or against Giovanni, but only for her own greed. She grants Giovanni the ability to get into Dr. Rappacini's garden through the secret entrance for gold, and even makes mention that many a young man in Prada would pay gold to see the entrance. Now, according to Frederick Cruz, she was acting no more than a panderer, but in my opinion, she was much more. She had no desire either way to pander for anything more than her greed. Her goal and Giovanni's goal were totally different. But regardless, her role begins the demise of the young woman Beatrice. Beatrice has been shown to be a victim in this whole story. I personally do not see where she is a victim, and according to Nina Baum, she was characterized in order to show men like Rappacini and Giovanni that their actions and what they would result in, and she was to be more manly. But I don't foresee that, because in the end she paid the ultimate price, which was death, that no other character will play. Beatrice only wanted love. That's all she cared about, and she felt she had found that in Giovanni. But come to find out, love came with a price. When she was administered the antidote, it would end up ending her life in the pursuit of love. In the end, she was a victim. She was a victim of her own circumstance, as well as her father's. Now, Dr. Rappacini was a man of pure science and logic. And a being of such, the only things he understood were calculations of risk. He risked the life of his daughter in order to be able to provide for her what he thought was a secure future from all the world around her, that she was a weak woman. According to Frederick Cruz, he was a man who threw cheers of his science, but was an obvious villain. I do not see Rappacini as a villain. I see him as a protector. I see him as a demented individual, someone who attempted to do, but yet in the end failed. I also see Rappacini as being an arrogant individual that thought that he could control nature and do things that no one else could do, and there would be no consequence to his actions. In the end, each and every character gets everything they desire and everything they want. The problem is, when you get what you want, there comes a price with it. For Giovanni, his price was he lost love. For the professor, he was able to get his revenge on Dr. Rappacini, but at the expense of a friend, Giovanni. Dame Elisabetta, she got her gold and disappears from the store. Dr. Rappacini was able to protect his daughter up until her death, a death that he ultimately caused through his arrogance. So Hawthorne's message, it would be, in my opinion, to the world, was that, yes, people are people, but do not let your arrogance and your desire for power override your common sense, and in the end ultimately end up dying because of your actions.